I'm Dr. Abbas Malik, and I'm your instructor for this web development course. This will be the last lecture in this series. In this, we have already studied about the HTML, then we talk about the CSS, then we talk about the Bootstrap styling, which is the framework for the styling the website. Then we also talk about JavaScript on the client side. That will continue in this today's discussion as well. And then we talk about how we can build a web server using the Node.js, Express, and the MySQL database. So that is what we have studied so far in this lecture series. And what we will do today here in this last lecture, that how we can combine together to create a complete website, starting from the back end, looking at the database, creating the web server, and also implementing the front end, the websites which are communicating the web server and getting some informations out of it and displaying to the user. So we will see from front end to the back end and our database tier as well. So that is the complete how we can integrate all the knowledge that we have learned so far in this lecture series. So let's start. The first thing is that in the last lecture, what we did, we have implemented a web server, or which is handling the students' records. We can add a new record, we can view all the record, we can edit a record, and then we can also delete a record. But what we have to test all these implementation or test that web server, uh, we use that Postman application to send those HTTP requests and get back the responses. So now, rather than using the Postman, what we will do, we will develop the front end. That front end, we will develop the HTML, CSS, Bootstrap files, and the old JavaScript files and everything. That will be the front end. And using that front end, using that website, actually, we are going to send the request to the backend, and then backend is processing it, and maybe it is getting the data in and out of the database server, and then sending back those responses to the client, and then we can build show those responses and then show that thing. So what we will do here, in the browser, there is a front end. We will develop different HTML files and different styling and things, and then that browser is going to send the HTTP request to the server. Server is managing our MySQL database server, and then send back some JSON responses, and then we will handle process those JSON responses inside our HTML files once we receive back. So this will be the structure of the complete project. So in the last lecture, what we did here, we developed that specific backend server. So it actually, in our case, we changed the name from the index to the myapp.js. So definitely we will be looking at that. And then we also have the package.json when we install this, which provides some information. So this is what we have done in the last lecture. So what we will do, we will copy these files into a new folder for this lecture, and then we also build these new files. Of course, the Bootstrap files we need to copy and paste in that folder as well. So in this way, we are going to see how we can develop a complete website using these knowledge that we have learned so far. So let's start with that. Here, the setup of that project. So first of all, let me create a new file here, new folder here. I will say it is our week 10 underscore class underscore code. And then inside this class code, we have already developed this my application, and I also have the package. I also copy this thing, rather than we don't need that student table right now. We have already implemented that thing, but let's me put it here so that in case you have not done that one, you can do it yourself. Okay. So we have now what we need to, we have copied these files which are there. Actually, I have deleted all those dependency which has been downloaded. So I just copy these my app package and the student table SQL file which we need to create a table inside our database. We have done that one. So what I will do, I will just open that folder inside the VS Code. So here is my VS Code folder. I will just drag it down here, or you can open, and we need to open that folder here. So if you look at that, we have implemented that files here. So this has different type of the HTTP request has been implemented here, different type of get request, post request, so on. And this is our SQL file. Okay. So first of all, what I need to do next thing is that I need to make sure that my SQL server is actually running. So we open the XAMPP application, and then we make sure that these two services, the Apache and the MySQL, they are running. And the other thing is that I need to create that, make sure that if you look at that, we have a Node.js, and inside we can import that specific file that I have just put it over there on my desktop. And we have 11, not 11 a.m., it's 1 p.m., and then week number 10, and then we need to select that one, and then we can import it. But we don't need to do that. Reason is that we have already imported that file. This student table is already there, so we don't need to worry about it. So now our server, web server, or the SQL server is running, so that is okay. The next thing that what we need to do here, uh, we need to copy these bootstrap files. Okay, so again, come back to our folder here. I think that we have done somewhere. So we have these bootstrap files. What I will do, I will copy this folder, bootstrap folder from here, and put it into the desktop. And then the other thing that if we look at that, we need to create a public HTML. This is the name of the folder, so you can decide whatever, public HTML, public, so whatever it is. So but let's stick to these naming principles. We say it is a public HTML folder, and inside that public HTML folder I am putting that bootstrap file. So we have done that thing. Okay. Now, public, of course, we will create these files. That is, we are going to do. But let me, other thing that what I need to do here, I need to open that terminal here inside my VS Code, and then I need to run, because if you look at that right now, we don't have any dependencies downloaded here. So, but if you look at our package, we already know that we have dependencies. We also have the dev dependencies, and then we also have that the yeah, node mon application that we need to run. So we say how we can run that, because it is not installed. So I will just npm install. When I do that, it is automatically look at the package.json file, and all the dependencies it has, it is automatically going to install those things for us. So install, then it's all done. Added 102 packages, ordered. So now you can see that it has created the package OSIN. So now we can say npm run dev, uh, dev. So once we do that, now you can see that our server is running, and then things looks fine for up to so far. So now what I need to do here, I need to create inside our HTML file, I need to create a new file here, and we say call it index.html. So when I do that, I say shift 1 and press enter, it will create a basic structure. So we say student management system. So that is another thing. The next thing that I need to create is I need to create a link, and in that link, what I need to do, I need to create a, let me see. So what I need to do here in the index.html, I create a link, and then inside that link we need to tell that we have a bootstrap, and inside the bootstrap we are talking about the bootstrap.css, and then inside the body, right before we are finishing it, we also create a script, and we say source bootstrap and then js file, and then close that boot. So now we have connected this html file with our bootstrap css and the javascript files. The other thing that what I need to do, I need to create a div, and then I say class is equal to container. Okay, and then we close that div here as well. And inside, what I need to do, I will just try to copy paste, navigation bar things because we want to create a few files here. So let me put it here. So I will explain you, we are creating the, what you can say that the navigation bar. So, okay. So it will, which is going to be created. So we have index file.html, which is going to be all record. We want to see it. If we want to see the view or edit the record, we will create, we have that view record file. So I will copy this thing and I create that file here inside this folder, HTML. Okay, so it is also, I will shift one, press enter, and then we have created that file. Let me create this file as well. Okay, so that we have all the files which are required. So I will just put that there. So again, shift one, press enter. So it will create the basic structure of that file. And then the last one is the insert record.html file. So again, I am come in the public.html file folder, and then I put that. So if you look at that, we in the public HTML folder, if I just show you inside the, we have this inside the public HTML folder, we have these four files, which are the HTML file, and then we also have the Bootstrap files. Okay, so now so far we have actually created these files. So let's working on that. So now we can see that we have this what you can say that we have this navigation bar, which is will help us to communicate with that. Okay. The other thing is that I will also try to apply the py-4 style on that container, which is going to be there. And then the other thing is that I will just try to apply the on the body, the class, and then I say bg-light. So it will become a light. So now it is just simple. I mean, we have just created that. So what we can do, we can also create that. We can copy these things. I will also try to copy this part as well. I will put everywhere inside this one. Okay, or in all the files. So we have a consistent look of those all the HTML files. Save it, and then we will just do that so we can navigate easily between the files. And the other thing is I also need to have that link in all the files so that we have that connection between the bootstrap styling in all the files. The script file is already there, so we have already saved it. Put that link between this JavaScript file. Okay, and now, so now if we have implemented that thing, so right now we have not sent anything request here, but we just created a basic structure of those four pages, and then what we are going to do here. So now let's come back to this one. So now we need to understand rather than, I mean, if I just try to open up my here, that where is my, let me quickly go through here. So if I just open up that one and then I say localhost host colon 3030 and press enter, our server is, yeah, our server is running. So we say, okay, there's L is missing in the local. So I say localhost colon 3030. So actually what is happening here, uh, this one is coming from this specific request. Okay, so we have implemented in the root, we whenever we are executing the localhost 3030, it is send me that welcome to the student management system. Rather than sending this thing, I want to send that it send all these HTML files and open the index file for me for that one. For that purposes, we have, again, we need to specify a hook, and that hook is actually what you can say that it is the we need to write say web app dot use, and then what we use, we say express dot static, and then inside the what you can say that inside that one I will say underscore underscore directory name. And then I hope that you have remembered in our from our discussion, uh, when we talk about the modules in the Node.js, or in inside module in the JavaScript. So actually, whenever we are writing a module, it also has the underscore underscore directory name and underscore file name information. So we have those information. So now what I need to do, I need to append after this one the public HTML. This is the same name that we have here, public public HTML. When I do that, and now once we go back to over here and I press enter, rather than showing me that message from this get request, you know, it is actually sending those information, this public HTML, and then automatically it open the index.html file for me. Okay, and that is going to be displayed here. So now we can move between all the different files. Okay, so we can go from one to another file. Okay, so this is one we have done. The other thing, I think that when we do that, it should highlight this one rather than this one. So what I need to do, I need to go into this one, and then I say primary, and it is active. So in the index file, this one is active, but in the insert one, it this one should not be active. It should be the class that is a view record. It is an insert record file. So we need to make sure that this one is active. And then in the delete one, again, this index should not be active. It should be a delete, which should be active. So we are changing those things so that accordingly, rather than it always show the active file is the index, it will show me appropriately. So when I save all those things, and now if I refresh my so what is happening here in the index.html, it is the okay, what is happening? Okay, it is our index.html. When I say refresh, yeah, okay, and then I click on that, click on this, click on this. Why it is all record is always there? So let me check. So index active, index file is active. In the insert, this one is active. Okay, the other one is not active. And the delete, again, this one is active. Only one is active, which is the delete one. And then we have a view, which is only one is active, which is the view one. Okay, anything that else that I need to change so that I have all those. Fall is for I, for alternate, and for circle it is exactly the same. Okay, so let me change that here and then do that. Now click here. Okay, click here, click here. But why it is always, this one is always coming in? Because here now I can see that it is changing, but this one BTN primary, BTN outline, BTN outline. Okay, so when this one is active, we need to BTN primary. So we need to change that thing as well. So we need to make sure that this is a BTN primary, but this is the out. Uh, okay, so we need to make this one outline. Dash, and then here we need to, wherever it is active, we need to make that one primary and the other one the outline. So okay, so we have BTN primary and outline. So I mean, you can understand that whenever we are going into details, then it is always we need to fix the thing so that accordingly it is going to change. So again, I say dash outline, and then this one is active, so we need to remove that part. And then we also need to save this one outline. Okay, so we have insert, it is outline, outline, outline. Okay, and then we have this one is outline, 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 and this one is the primary. In the delete one, we say index is also the outline. It is two type here. Okay, so then we have outline, then this one is active and this one is the outline, all good. And then we say this one, it should be the dash outline. And because this one is the active one, what I need to do, I need to make sure this one. So now if I just come back here and then try to refresh my record. So when I go here, yes, so now things are working properly. So now we fix our, the navigation bar. Okay, so this is one thing that we have. So now the next thing that we need to understand, let's come back to our slides and then what we do next. So we have created all these things. We also created these files. We bootstrap is also there. We check that if it is working. And if it is, you have not created the students table, what you need to do, you need to create that table. You need to import that SQL file into your MySQL database so that you can create that thing. And then, of course, if you have not created your own database, you need to create first a database, and then you need to import that specific student file. Okay, or you can modify that file to create a database as well for you. So that is another thing that you can do. um, then we also have implemented that specific middleware, so we have implemented that specific part. So we are serving that public HTML folder to the client and then automatically opening the index.html file for us. So that it is already done. We have already installed all the required packages and things. The next thing that is we need to implement the route. So now let's come back to the routing part. And if you look at, so let me close everything and only the index.html and my app. Inside the my app, and of course this is not no longer required. So I can just comment it out. And this one is also, we are just check that it is not possible that we can do that through the browser. You can see the in the last lecture what we discussed, I think in the part one of the last lecture. So now this is the the get request actually, which send me back all the records. Okay, and we want to send that specific. We need to send that request on the slash data slash students URL, and it should be a get request, and it will send me back the results. And remember, this result is actually an array. And how we can test that? We can just come back here, and then we can see what it is going to send, because it is a localhost colon 30, and we say data slash students, and when you press enter, so if you look at that, actually it is an array of the Java JSON objects or the JavaScript objects. Okay, so it is an array which has been sent back. Sorry. Uh, Sorry for the interruption. So the we have that get request, and then we want to send a HTTP request from our client to that server, and then in that way we want to receive that data back, and then how we are going to handle that thing. Okay, so the next thing I would like to change inside the HTML, because this is going to return me an array, so we will see that how. But first let us further design that index.html file. So what I will do, I will just try to copy a code from here, and I will put that one inside this div under that uh, navigation bar. So if I just go back to my home page again, if I just refresh my page, so now you can see that it is showing me right now this thing, because we are not changing that thing yet, because we are not actually, what we are going to do in the beginning at the load event, so we are going to send a request to our server sends back a response, and then accordingly we are going to update our this index file based on the information which is coming back. Okay, so right now it is just let me go back to these slides, to the code, sorry, and then we can see. So first, this one is what you can say that this is our here it is. So this is our navigation bar. This is our the main code. We have we specify different the text and the styling, and then we also have all student records, which is here at this one, and then we have this search bar, which is show this one. Okay, so here it is, and then we have these statistics, where we are showing the statistics, how many students we have total, how many CS students we have, how many IS students we have, and how many SE students we have. Okay, the first thing that we need to understand that then afterward we have created this table. So this table is a table responsive, table stripe, table hover, and the head is a dark one, so that's why head, you can see it is a dark. And then we have a table body, and then we are giving the ID value to this one. And inside this one, actually what we are doing right now, in the beginning, it is say loading, and then it will show me that's that rotating thing. So that is that cursor which is it is doing something, it is processing requirements. So this is what there. And then using that id value, actually what we will do, we will write a javascript code which will access that table body and fill the information which are coming from the server. But for that one, what I need to do, I need to write a script file, a script tag inside script, and then we say what is happening. We say script, and this is our script. So now what I need to do here, I need to send a request. Okay, so if I say that I want to implement, I send a set request. So if you look at it, we have a local host colon 3030 is the base. Okay, and then what, okay, so let me say that we want to show want to what can load the load students. Okay, so we say it is a function which takes the load, not loading, I say load students. And this function is actually in which we are going to implement that specific behavior. Okay, so what I need to do, we need to say we have a fetch function. Okay, so we say fetch, and then what we want to fetch. Here I need to provide the URL. Okay, so here I say slash data slash students. So if I do that, and then it will send that request. Actually, by default, this fetch function sends an get HTTP request to the server. So that server, once it is done, okay, so we can have two different ways to implement that. We make that function as asynchronous. Okay, and how we can make that function asynchronous, we need to write async in the start, and then here we can say that whatever the response is coming back, we say constant, and then say response is equal to, and then we await. So fetch function, so it will get back the response. But once we receive back the response, that response is actually in form of a JSON. So rather than having that JSON, we just only want to read the body of that information, the actual response which is coming from the server. So what I will do, I will say constant, and I will say the results is equal to, again, await, and then we say response dot JSON. So we do that. So we actually, it will read the JSON information out of it and put that inside the results. Okay, and then we can check if, look, if that result, that array which is coming, if we look at here, this array is has some information. It means it has some length. If the results dot length, it means that this, that some data has been sent back from the client, from the server. Okay, when the server has sent back the data, what I need to do, I need to display that information inside the what you can say that inside that uh, what you can say that I mean inside that table that we have just seen here. This is the id. So in the table body, uh, I don't want to do that. I just want to use this one and then fill that one. So what I will do, I just can write another function, or I can write everything here. So I will just, what I will do, I will just say uh, I create a html file. Okay, and then inside the HTML file, I want to write those information. Okay, so let's start. So we have the results, which is an array. And then first of all, what I will say, we say let HTML string, which is in the beginning, it is empty. And now what I need to do, I need to create that, what you can say that uh, HTML string. So we say HTML string is equal to what? So we say we have the results dot map. So again, we can apply. I mean, there are different ways to implement that thing. So we can write based on the length of that array. So let me. I think we can do that. So for the for, I say let I is equal to 0 and I is less than the results dot length, and then I say that I plus plus. So when I do that, so we have this length, and then what I need to do, I need to create, we say HTML string plus equal to, and then I put a tick sign. Why? Because I want to use it in a multiple files. First of all, I need to create an array for every, what you can say that for every, if I just try to put that thing like this, and then I need to close that array as well. Okay, so we need to create an array. I mean, if you look at the structure of this one, the structure of our, what you can say that we have the ID value. Okay, the first, then for ID value, I need to create a TD. Okay, and then we also have a name. So let me copy this thing here for the name. We have we need to create one row for one record, and then in each record we have one column for the ID, one column for the name, one column for the gender, one column for the semester, and one column for the major, and then one column for the actions. Okay, so action is more like we are putting some buttons over there. We want to delete or we want to edit those information, then we can put it over there, and then we will see that how we can do that. Okay, so this is the one thing that we need to do first of all for the ID that we are going to do that. So what I will do, I will just try to put, for example, I want to, that is the reason that I am using that tick things. And then here I say, we need to say results, and then we need to say I value and dot ID. Okay. So in this way, we are going to access the information because this results is actually a array, and then inside the array we have, say, according to the index value, the zero index value, I am putting this thing. So here again, uh, I will just try to copy this thing, and accordingly I will, rather than say ID, I say name, and then here I say this should be uh, what is the next thing that we can see here. So if I just go back, we have a gender. Okay, so we need to say gender, and then we can say dollar sign, and then here again, let me copy this thing here, and then we have a semester, and then we have the informations for that major. Okay, major. So up to this point, okay, so we have created these informations, and then for the last one, actually I need to create some buttons here. So I will just try to create these things. Let me copy paste a few things here, and then I will explain you what does this mean. I will put it here. Okay, and then I try to do that. Actually we are creating the records here. Okay, so we are just sending back, we are sending an href, and then we are putting the ID value of that student as a parameter to that new, when we are requesting the view record.html file which we have created, and then we are setting up those things. And then similarly, we say delete record, and again we are sending that specific request to the this thing. Okay, so this is we are sending that ID value as a parameter. So in this way, we are actually implementing that thing. We are say plus equal to, so we act for every record we are creating this thing, and then at the end, what I do once we have finished this loop, what I will do, I will try to say, I say document dot get element by ID, and the ID is actually this ID we are talking about here, this one, and then once I do that, I say that dot inner HTML is equal to our HTML string. Okay. So once I do that, and then if we once we refresh, I mean, we can also call that function here, not inside the function. outside of the function, we say load students, and then we do that. Either we implement that thing. So once I refresh my page here, we are not getting any answers yet. So we are calling the async function, loading, and then actually what we are doing, so we have implemented, so we say that this inner HTML, it will replace this thing with the this HTML. So let us see if we have any error. Okay, so what we need to do, we need to go into the more tools, developer tools, and inside the developer tools, what we can look into the console, student is not defined. Okay, so what we are doing here, where is our code? Okay, so actually we are using this thing. We are not using that student. We are need to say this thing. So actually it is coming down here, trying to execute it, but it is not working. So that is the reason. So if I just try to refresh my page, now you can see that I have get all the data from that server, and then display that in the page. When I click on the edit, it will take me to the, and if you look at that, it is telling me what is the ID of that value. And then if I delete this thing, you can see that it is also sending me the response. So if I look at that, so now we have implemented that specific simple behavior. And let me come back to this way. So what I'm sending here, so we are sending the http get request to server, and then we are reading the JSON response out of it, and then we are going to do that. So either we do that, in the async await function, or you can write something like this, that this part is equivalent to this lines which I'm going to write now. So we say fetch, and then of course we need to provide slash data slash students, and then we say dot then, and then whatever is coming back out of this function, we say uh, we need to write that function. So here we need to say whatever response is coming back, we are going to convert that response dot JIS. Okay, so we are going to convert that thing, and the next thing that we need to say that dot then, and then we have the data actually, or the results, you can say that results are coming in, and then we are going to write. So rather than writing this if conditions and then all that code, that code will go inside this I will replace that one, and then that will go inside here, that one. So now either you write something like this, I will just try to put that one in the async format. I will just try to remove that thing and then do a little bit down. So either you write something like this, in first you get fetch the data, wait for that function to finish the work, and then send back the give me back the return data or the response, and then from the response we are reading the results, and then using those results we are putting that information here inside it. Or you can say something like fetch. Again, it is doing the same thing, but there are two different way to implement. This one is a little bit more structured and understandable, but this one is also work perfectly fine. If I just try to, what you can say that comment out, I will just write some comments so that when I upload the code, you can understand. Uh, async and wait method to get the data from server. Okay, I will also say is the first method. Okay, so I will just try to comment out that thing. So now this is a comment part. And then this is another thing. So we have a results.length. We are putting that results is coming in. So actually, this one is get that request. Once it has finished, it will give the response to the next one, and then response.json. We are converting that, reading that data out of it, and then that will automatically pass to then part, and then results, and then we are putting this one. If I just come back here to my, and I just send a new request. So now you can see that it does not make any difference. So it is going to read that data. Okay. So that is one part which has been done. So what else I need to do here, that I need to uh, show the records, some information. So either, and the other thing that I want to display here, that either you say that I want to execute whenever that page is being loaded, or we can say we can write a event handler here, right above that function at the start of this one, or maybe after, doesn't matter where we are writing it. So we say we are adding an event loader when that event has been when the document object model content has been loaded, then actually it is going to execute this function automatically. And then we are also trying to put the get element by search id input, and then we are setting that one. So this is in that case, if we have done that, because we are implementing that. Once we have done, so we again check our thing, so everything is working perfectly same way. The other thing is we need to fill these statistics. Okay, so once we want to fill these statistics, what I need to do here, I need to what you can say, that display that statistics function. So and then I will just try to copy paste that specific and here we are trying to use a different way to implement that. Okay, so here if you look at that, we are saying in this one, so we're creating actually a for loop for ourselves, and then here in this one actually we are going to display the students, not display students, actually we need to have that other function which is the display students. Okay, let me we are display students, and then we have update statistics. So we have the update statistics part. So we will just copy this function here, and then here we are update statistics. So this update statistics, actually it will take that students table. I mean, actually we have created these. If we look, we have given the id values to these. So this is the main car, and then if you look at that, we have the id values for this one. So this is the h1. So we say total students id, and then we also have total cs students id, and then we also have total is students id, and then we also total se students id. So what I need to do, I access these elements and replace the contents using this one. So this is a students, is this is actually what you can say, that once you have done that, we also need to say update statistics, and then we need to give the results as a part of it. Okay, so these results are actually becoming the students here, students dot length, that will give me that one. And then we also say document dot total cs total contents students dot filter, and then students dot filter. Okay, and then students dot filter, and then accordingly we are say it is a cs or is or the se, and so accordingly it is going to find out the number of students of the cs, is, and the se. So total students, of course, the total length of the student which is coming from the server, but for the is, cs, and se, it will look at wherever the major is equal to cs or is and se, it will count those students and it will update the results. So if once I also need to put that code here as well, where we are just implementing this thing. I will just do that, and I will just, okay. Okay, so now let's come back to the refresh the page. So now you can see that it automatically say we have total 30 students, we have 11 CS students, 10 IS students, and 9 SC students. So you can verify these from the records as well. The other thing that we need to implement, whenever we are typing something, we want to see only those students which has the something like this. So we can look at that, we can implement that specific behavior. I mean, if you look at that, we are saying here that where we are filter students. So we have a filter students method where we are going to show alert. Okay, let me see, where is that? So I will just, we have a filter students, and then we are going to use that method here. Okay, so we have a filter student. So actually, when we have implemented that thing, so when we are adding, so whenever we have to give the input into that search item, it will automatically execute this student filters method. So in that student filters method, we say search term, the document.get, and whatever we are typing into that one, we are getting that information out of it. And then we filter all students. So we have the all students. So first of all, what I need to do, I need to, what you can say that I have created that all students. We need to create that all students method. It's a variable actually, not method. So we come down here, and then here we say we have a let all students, and that will be an array, empty array in the beginning. But definitely once we read all the data, we need to assign that students here. So what I need to do here, uh, before I can, yes, if there's a length, then I say all students is equal to results. Okay, so I need to specify that thing as well. So once we have these all students, now we say all student dot filter. So students we name major or the semester. So accordingly, it is going to specify. Let us see if it is working. So if I just do that, and here I say CS. No, not working right now. Nope, it is not working. But let me check why. So we are applying that filter, display student filter. Okay, so what I need to do, we need to again, what is that actually? We need to have that display students method. Okay, so what I will do here, I will just copy that method here, and I will show you that one. Actually, we are doing the same thing that we are doing here in that for loop. Okay. So either we write this thing, or we write this thing that a display student. So it's actually, it will get all the results, and then it will get that one. And rather than using the for loop, it has say that we have the map method inside the array. And then when you say map, it will access each and every record, or the each and every element inside that array, and then convert that into this one, and then show that one. Okay, so what I can do here, rather than putting this thing here like this for loop, by ourselves, we can replace that one with the display students, and then give the results as an input to this one. Okay, so once we do that, again, let me go back here, refresh my page, display students, and then display students is actually display students. It is getting that ID and everything. We have that students. Okay, inner HTML student.map.join. Okay, what is happening? So let's again check the dev tools, and then the dev tools and the console. So it is saying, it is giving me an error message. It said that the reference error uncaught promise escape HTML is not defined. So actually, we also have another. Okay, let me see. Escape HTML, or what is the 233 line. So we have 233 line. Where is that escape? I will say Control Z. Index.html display students 230. Array.map anonymous. Okay, so let me see if we have student.id, we are putting the escape HTML. So actually we have not defined that So actually, I will just try to remove that. Okay, so now if I just come back here and refresh my page, so now you can see that we all the errors are gone. It also has changed the way it is being displayed here rather than it is using the simple, what you can say that simple text file. It is actually showing them inside the badges. So yeah, so this is another way you can see that. Uh, so either you do that, but we have a simplistic way to access their thing. We are just putting the text over there, or you can have a more elaborated function here, which is going to display those information inside it. Okay, so that is all done. So now if I just say CS, so now you can see that it filter these this one, and then it only show me the CS students. And if I just do that IS, then it show me only the IS students. Why it is the CSS coming in IS? So actually, it is filtering on the. If you look at that in the FASL, this FASL is also has the IS value here. Okay, so that is why it is also show me in that. So it is actually filtering the name, the major, and the semester. If I say semester, for example, 8, so it will only show me the 8 semester students. If I say 7, then it show me only the 7 semester students, and so on. So these are some functions that we have written up. First of all, let me go through again. Number one thing, we are creating a variable with the empty array, which contains all the records which are coming from the server. And then we are saying that add a listen whenever that document object model content has been loaded completely. It will execute the load function method, load students method, and it will also search for the input, search input, get access that element. And that element is actually defined here. Where is the search? This is the main, this is the search index, and this is the input. Okay, and this input, if you look at that, this is the ID has been given, so it will access that one. And then whenever that there is some input, that input event happens whenever we are typing in this input field, actually it executes this function filter student function. And then here we have two different methods to access that, to send that request. So we will use the fetch method to send the get request. Either you use an async and await thing, or you can just say dot then. So once this finish, it will pass on the pass on the response to this one, and then it will convert, read the informations out of that response and pass the results to this one, and then we can execute this part. So here again we can write our own for loop, as a simple for loop to put the data inside the table, or we can have this method which is helping us to display those things, rather than we say map method on the array, and then for every student. So we are putting those together and then putting into the so now we also have this filter method which will take the informations out of that input string and then filter the records from out of it, and then whatever that filtered is, it is display that information inside our table. Okay, so this is the one thing that we have implemented so far. So if you look at our implementation details, so we have implemented number one thing. If we just remove that one, it will show me all the records. So we have implemented, we created a setup of our project, and then we also have implemented our index.html file which send a get request to our server, and then receive back that array of the records or array of objects from the server and display those information. So this is the first part or the first implementation. The one page has been finished. So we will finish that this lecture at this point, and then in the next lecture we will see that how we can implement the other maybe we can say that how we can view the record and edit it, and then we can finish that thing, and then we can talk about delete and then talk about. So we will record them into practice. So that's all for today. And if you have enjoyed this practical demonstration and the lecture, then please subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much.